Yo, welcome back to the Hulaham Hour. Nick and Kurtis at your service. We got some in-house guests tonight. Kurt and Scott, what is up, my players?
Thanks for having us, Kurtis.
Yeah, fuck yeah, man. Hell yeah. All right, people, let's kick it. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hulaham Hour. Nick, how's it going, brother?
It's going good, man. How about yourself?
Dude, freaking chilling, man. Freaking chilling. Got Scott and Kurt here. We had a golf outing today, the West Branch Chamber outing. Glad you guys came out for it, man. We had a good time. It was a good time, but we're here bringing you some NFL news. Nick, lead us into some NFL news, bro.
Oh, my favorite thing of the day was talking about Myles Garrett. What do you think about him saying he's going to put Aaron Rodgers in the graveyard early?
You know what? I'm glad somebody else said it besides myself. Like, I just feel like somebody needs to put Aaron Rodgers in his place. And if Aaron, you know, if Myles Garrett wants to show up and actually put out against Aaron Rodgers, kudos. Like, that'd be super cool, man. That'd be super, super cool. But
do you not remember him beating Mason Rudolph with his own helmet?
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like that's where if Mason Rudolph would have been the starter for the Steelers, I feel like Myles Garrett might have come out and just hit him with the helmet, you know. But yeah, let's ask our guests. Scott, Kurt, what do you guys think?
My personal thoughts, Aaron Rodgers signing with the Steelers, I don't think makes a big difference, to be honest with you.
No, it makes no difference.
If you look at his last couple of seasons, the Aaron Rodgers we've seen the last 2 years is not the Aaron Rodgers of old. So I don't think it's going to be anything special.
He had a worse record than Zach Wilson and, oh my God, who's the other one, Nick? Don't fill me in here. Fill me in.
Take your pick. There's been a lot of them.
Dude, but he had a worse record than all of them guys. If you have a worse record than Zach Wilson, and Zach Wilson is now backing
Sam
up like
Darnold,
third string.
and,
Yeah, Sam Darnold had a worse record. Like,
and
it was just,
I could probably name about 10 more.
Yeah, it was just terrible. Terrible news. I don't know. I just feel like I said before on the Hulaham Hour, Aaron Rodgers is now as a Pittsburgh Steeler. I'm renouncing now my Steelers fanship, taking my hat off, renouncing it. Because Aaron Rodgers, I'm not a fan of you. I know you have a lot of shit going on. He announced earlier this week that he's also got married in the offseason, which is not a big deal, whatever. But you will now lead Mike Tomlin to be the first losing Steelers team he's ever had, and you'll miss the playoffs, and you will get Mike Tomlin fired because of it. I don't know. Give me your guys' thoughts.
I will say right now, Aaron Rodgers is a future Hall of Famer. He deserves it. He's been there. He is 3 years past his prime, and I don't think he's going to have a good season.
Yeah. Thank you.
I really think that, you know, it all comes down to if you can play or not, and if you want to play or not.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure he has enough left in the tank to want to play.
I agree 100%.
I don't think it's a matter of want to play as it is a matter of actually can play too. Like, I think his want to play is still there, but it's a matter of putting it on the field. And you can call back, like, if he would have had the shit season he had last season without Devontae Adams, it'd be like, oh, well, he didn't have anybody. And now he's like calling back everybody, like he's got Alan Lazard going to Steelers and he's got all this whatever. But, like, I just think, like, I don't know. Not only do I not like him as a person, but I just fucking don't agree with the fact that they just want to bring him there now as a clutch. Like, yeah, you're having a fucking season that's super like not about winning a Super Bowl, but in the same breath, you still are trying to win a Super Bowl, but you're still going to be like 9-7 or 9-8 because there's the extra game.
Yeah. I mean, he's not the savior for Steelers Nation.
No, he's not. He's not. He's never going to be, and he never will be. So,
next headline will be: Is this marriage consensual? High on drugs while married.
Everything under ayahuasca is legally binding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is for sure. I don't know, man. Like I said, I told you as soon as I found out after the episode last week, Nick, that I was going to announce my Steelers fanship, but I did. I'll keep to it until they get rid of Aaron, and I hope Will Howard's the answer. I seen a quote earlier online that said, Will Howard's a good young kid. He has a lot to learn, blah, blah, blah. And you know what? If he can learn under Aaron Rodgers, what a great successor to have. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, I don't like him. I don't like the man at all. But I'm sure he's got to at least impeach some knowledge onto the people that are under him. He has to. He has to. So,
I don't know. Everywhere he's been, he kind of seems like a dick when it comes to training other people.
That just kind of seems like.
Think about it. Would Aaron Rodgers be Aaron Rodgers without Brett Favre, though?
Yeah. No, he really wouldn't be, because Brett Favre was the gunslinger of America at the time, and then Aaron Rodgers did not fill the gunslinger tactic. He didn't do it all. All right. So, moving on, Nick, give us another headline in sports world.
Well, I'm just going to go right after your team here. TJ Watt sitting out mandatory camp. Pay that man. What do you think?
I don't know about so much TJ Watt sitting out camp as I do TJ Hendrickson, still a question mark.
Oh, Trey's not playing, and they're not going to pay him.
I know, but do you think the Lions will? Okay, so Nick, we'll start with you. Nick, do you think the Lions will pay Trey Hendrickson, or do you think the Cincinnati Bengals will pay him, or what do you think?
I think we have a history of being a really freaking cheap, and as much as I wish as he would come there, I don't see him doing it, and I don't see Cincinnati doing it. He'll end up in Washington or somewhere where, like, Josh Daniels, that wants to spend money.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not bad. What do you guys think?
I'm not so certain that the Lions even know what they want. It's like I appreciate the what we've got to watch in the last 2 years, but they're very conservative when it comes to pulling new talent.
Yeah.
And maybe rightfully so. If you're gonna compare them to the Tigers, I'm a big baseball fan. If you want to compare them to the Tigers brought up people from their minor leagues, and they're doing quite well, rather than just spending money on people that have done it before that maybe you overpay for to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And I think the Lions are kind of in a similar boat to where they want to see what they've got, what they can do with what they've got. I don't see them spending money.
As much as I don't want to see them spend money or think they will, because I totally agree with everything you just said. Spend the money. Like at the same breath, like, could you imagine, just all things aside, imagine a world where we have Trey Hendrickson on one side and Aiden Hutchinson on another. Like, you cannot, if you don't win a Super Bowl, it just means defense does not honestly win championships. That's what it comes to. So Detroit, please, for the love of God, Dan Campbell, talk to Sheila. Make it happen. Bring Trey Hendrickson home. Bring him home. I don't know, but it's going to be a wild world. It's going to be a wild, wild west world. I'm very excited for fans football. So, by the way, I have this beautiful trophy that's right here next to me every week that I won in one of our leagues. And Scott Wesley, you have the other one. So, Scott, talk your shit, walk your walk, and do it.
All right. We're going to roll it back to Trey Hendrickson. So, when it comes to the Dan Campbell era in Detroit, unless Trey Hendrickson says, I want to play there, I don't think we're going out and spending the money just to get him.
No.
That's the way our atmosphere is there. That's our culture. You want to win a Super Bowl, you need to say, I want to be there. And if he doesn't say that, I don't see Dan Campbell spending the money to go out and get him. I really don't.
Yeah, it is a toss-up, because that's the culture Dan Campbell's brought to the Lions, is that, you want to either ride or die for us or not ride or die for us. But in the same breath, I feel like we've let some players walk that I felt like had that mentality in the same breath. You know what I mean? We've let some other players walk where we upgraded, with getting DJ Reed, things like that. But I don't know. It's tough to say. It's tough to say, man.
I see what you're saying, but when when I look down to it, we're going down to brass. If you don't say, I want to win a Super Bowl, I want to play here, we're not going to go out and just pay top dollar for you.
Nope.
If
100%.
you're about the money, that's
100%.
not it. If you want to win a Super Bowl, absolutely, we're here for you.
That's where exactly what I said last week when our center, Frank Ragnow, retired. Please do not pull a freaking Gronk. Please do not pull a Gronk on us. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see you retire for money. Retire and retire. If you want to retire, Frank, and go off in the sandy beaches of the West Coast, whatever you want to do your thing. But if you want to retire and then immediately come back in the league and then put up numbers for money, fuck you. That's all I gotta say, man. That's all I gotta say. Nick, for real, what are your thoughts, dude?
So just to end the Trey Hendrickson thing, I think also the longer you let him sit, the cheaper he becomes. I mean, you're still going to be up around $30 million. You're going to have to pay him, but I think you could trade a lot less away the longer you wait.
Yeah,
and Ragnow sounded genuine when he his body just can't do it anymore. I hope he comes back and coaches because he is a great lineman.
Yeah, I would love to see him be a lineman coach or something.
Yeah,
of that nature
for sure.
For the Lions, because the Lions lost. Lions lost so much. Yes, you can compare us to the stat that we lost our offensive and defensive coordinator, and the Eagles last year did the same thing, and then they go to the Super Bowl and they win it, blah 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 blah. But we lost more than just our offensive and defensive coordinator. Nick, you can probably correct me if I'm wrong, but we lost our offensive line coach, we lost our special teams coach, we lost a bunch of shit that even makes me more upset as you've been tuning into the Hulaham Hour. You know this. Fuck Ben Johnson. I just can't stand that guy. He took so much from the Lions. I hope he does well, but in the same breath, I hope he just burns and crashes so hard into the ground that it just, I don't know. But what are your guys' thoughts on Ben Johnson actually? You guys saw the article where it came out and was Ben Johnson was poaching us halfway through the season, all this kind of stuff. What are you guys' thoughts?
Well, I think that Ben Johnson was a pretty reasonable offensive coach. Unfortunately, for him, I don't believe he'll have the same amount of success in Chicago as he did in Detroit. If you look at what happened in Detroit, luckily our head coach had a lot to say with it, and Ben Johnson ran with it. I don't believe that he's going to see that same. I mean, he has some talent in Chicago, but I don't think you're going to see the exact same amount of success based on. I don't think that Ben Johnson was the reason that the Lions put up all those numbers. And you never know, obviously, what's going to go on with whatever. But when you go to a foe in your same division, you can't root for him. I mean, I thought he was a great guy in Detroit, but now I get to root against him, and I'm going to, and I feel pretty confident that you're going to see the Lions end up well above the Bears this year.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens after that.
Yeah. Scott, what do you think?
I agree 100%. I'm not taking anything away from the Bears and their offense. Caleb Williams will be probably a pretty good quarterback one day. But I don't think that Ben Johnson was the secret to our success. It was the culture. It was Dan Campbell. And we have some players on our offense. We really do, And do I think down the road, 2 or 3 years, they could have the same success? Absolutely. But they're not there yet. I think Ben Johnson's going to get there, and he's going to try to do a couple things that maybe Caleb Williams can't quite handle yet, and it's not going to work out that great for him. I think they're going to have a mediocre season.
Yeah. And on that, fuck the Bears. Yeah. So, yeah, dude. Nick, I mean, do you have any other dispositions about that, or what do you got, bro?
No, the word I would use for the Bears offense, what they lack to us, is moxie. Our offense just has a way to run them trick plays, and it looks so beautiful.
Yeah.
I just don't think they're that unit, and he's going to try a bunch of stuff, and he's going to be on not top 10 plays.
I don't want to say like he wants to try to be like a Patrick Mahomes or anything like that. Like Caleb Williams is a talented quarterback and things like that. But again, I said this in the beginning of our podcast as well, way before anybody knew who the Hulaham Hour was. Caleb Williams paints his fucking fingernails, man. Like you can only be as good as you are as a human. I don't know, man.
Nick, you said moxie. I would say that they lack the grit. You know, they don't have our culture. They're not going to grind it out and make these phenomenal plays. It's going to be a touchy thing, and Caleb Williams is going to miss throw by a foot, and it's not going to happen.
That's a very good way to put it, Scott, to be honest with you. Like, the grit. They lack grit. Like, almost all the teams in the NFL at this point lack the grit that the Lions have and the grit that Dan Campbell brings to the league. Like, the fact that he, like, bought that freaking sofa bag. I honestly feel like he just looked up on Craigslist like, what's the biggest thing I can buy that looks like a ball sack that I can put in the back of my truck on social media and make it look like I'm packing my nuts into the back of my own truck. Like, it's like, you saw that, Nick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, like that shit was wild. That shit was wild. It'd be so much fun, but I don't know, man. I love what Dan Campbell's been doing. I love what Detroit has been doing. It's been since 2009. It's been since 2009 since we've won a championship in the city of Detroit.
Wow.
We are the last of the big four sports cities to win a championship at this point. So please, for the love of God, bring one out for us. All we want is to bring a ship home. I would love nothing more than to see it be the Lions that bring that ship home to us. So, all right. What else? What else you got in the NFL world, Nick?
Just a lot of people sitting out a mandatory minicamp. Just curious to see McLaurin if they finally get these deals done. You would have to assume they will, but it always raises a question. What if?
Yeah. You know, Aaron Rodgers obviously showed up to camp for the Steelers, which means he wasn't about like sitting out. He just was about signing a deal, which good for him. But you're right. I'm searching NFL news on here. I see just like NFL minicamp updates, you know.
Obviously, we all knew Kirk Cousins was. For the love of God, please trade him, Atlanta.
Dude,
the poor guy.
So, guys, guess what do you feel Kirk Cousins' future is?
I think Kirk Cousins has a future in the NFL. Obviously, he's shown that he can be a quarterback that can take a team that has talent as far as it can possibly go. Now, he didn't do a great job last year, and I don't know who might want him at this point, but he has enough knowledge and enough talent, if given the right amount of resources around him, to be a, quote, manager. You know, he's not the quarterback out there that's going to win everything for you, but
Nope.
if you have enough talent out there, he can manage the game and keep them involved and keep them going the way that it needs to go.
Yeah. Nick, you've said that from day one that Kirk Cousins won't win or lose you a game, but he'll manage it, right?
He will. And what do you guys think about the potential of him going back to Minnesota? You got an unproven rookie just coming off an injury. What do you guys think?
Personally, I think if Minnesota decides to do that, it'd be a very smart move on them to take a rookie that has never thrown a ball in the NFL and put him in the starting spot to be able to carry the team. I don't believe, regardless of how well he did in college, that he's ready to do that. And I think that would be a smart move on Minnesota's part, but I'm not so sure they'd be willing to do that.
Scott, what do you got?
I'm going to cap off on that. The way I see that, to be honest with you, I mean, J.J. McCarthy could have a phenomenal, call it a rookie season. I know he's injured last year, but whenever he starts to play, he could do great. But I'm going to think it's kind of in the realm of the Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes situation there. J.J. McCarthy's he's got an arm. He's smart. I mean, they were a run-first offense in college. But I think you give him a few seasons on the bench and learn under a seasoned vet, and a couple years down the road, you have an amazing quarterback. That's what I'm looking at.
It's just like kind of proof in the pudding that having your rookie quarterback, whether he plays a game or not, be on the bench behind a veteran. It's just proven to work. Like it just is. Just all day.
If you want to look at the Packers over the last few years, that's the way it's worked for the Packers.
Yeah, and not only the Packers, but like when Patrick Mahomes was drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs, he was not drafted to be Patrick Mahomes that he is today.
No.
He was drafted as like a safety net for Alex Smith.
And he learned.
And he learned behind him, and he grew behind him, and then now he's just incredible. Right. And as much as I want to talk shit about him, I can't stand on that pedestal. Yeah, I can't.
But I'll throw this out there. Being an NFC North, fan, a Lions fan to be particular.
Yeah,
our quarterback situation has sucked.
Yep,
for so many years.
100%.
I'm not going to give him Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is amazing. We did not draft around him.
Yep.
And for years, we have seen the Packers do the Brett Favre. And then, Brett Favre's gone. We got this. And then we have fucking Aaron Rodgers. And now Jordan Love's coming out to be like, he might actually be, a franchise quarterback.
Yep.
And it shows it. It plays into it. Sit behind somebody for a couple years, learn, and your team's probably better off for it.
Yeah, dude. Like, not that I don't agree with the fact that you can't come straight out of high school into a league now. Like, I don't, on any level. Like, if you're that talented, you should still be able to come out of the league and show your talents.
I agree. You should be able to.
However,
different,
on the flip side of that equation, when you do come into college and you do sit under somebody in college, which most people don't come out and just ball, they come in, they do their thing. You come into the league, and then you get that opportunity too behind somebody that is already proven, already established, already maybe they haven't had the best record, but they still have the experience. It's unmatched. It's unmatched to do that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Nick, what do you think the next tandem to do it like Patrick Mahomes, and Alex Smith would do it?
Honestly, Detroit, for one, should start looking at QBs because if Goff goes down, we're really screwed. We don't even have really a mediocre back. Dude, he's been terrible. He's a third string.
No, is Hooker gone?
He should be.
Fuck him, man.
I think
I don't really know what the next tandem would be.
In the next year or two, for sure. We need to draft a franchise quarterback.
No.
To learn.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be number one, but we need a guy in the first round.
But we're not going to be in a position for the next couple of years unless we absolutely do what Detroit Lions do best and lose this year to be in position to play, to actually draft a quarterback like that. I don't know, man.
I think that's a comment that you don't need to make because the best quarterback over the last 20 years, 25 years came out of the sixth round.
The rounds mean nothing until you get the right coaches around you.
That is 100% truth. Look at Jalen Hurts. He was a third-round pick, I think. Again.
And you look at, like, Aiden O'Connell. Guys like that raise superstars. They're not necessarily superstars when they get there.
Mm-hmm. And, again, you don't come here for the Hulaham Hour for stats. You come here for fun. So, fuck off if you're here for stats. Fuck yeah, dude. NFL shaping up. I'm very excited to start talking more like regular season, preseason shit soon. Let me look up our countdown to the Scott Hansen regular season kickoff. We are 88 days left until Scott Hansen graces our presence on our Red Zone televisions. I cannot wait. It's going to be great. It's going to be super great. Okay. So, moving on to our second favorite topic here on the Hulaham Hour, PGA. Nick, fill us in on the winner of the RBC Canadian Open.
That was a wild finish. Sam Burns just got hot. He was in early.
How many playoff holes did it go to?
3. They had to move the hole location in the third hole.
Yeah.
Was it 3 or was it 4 times around?
I think it was 4 times around.
It was 2, and then the third hole they move it.
Okay.
But I think it still went because I'm pretty sure it went another hole after that.
Yeah, same hole location.
Well, yeah, but it went to a total of
4.
Like the fifth time that they went through it, right?
4. You're right. It was 2 at that location.
Yeah, yep. That was an unbelievable finish, though. Sam Burns deserved it. He did.
It's always a fun tournament to watch. The way them greens roll are just amazing.
Yeah, did you catch enough of it to fill us in a little bit more while I find the standings?
Well, I picked my long shot, Nick Taylor, because he's won there before.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping to see Adam Hadwin get tackled again by security.
So, I'll throw it out
Did you
there.
guys ever see
I was
that?
rooting for Cameron Young. It just didn't happen.
Dude, Cam Young's been playing great golf, but not good enough golf. It's just...
Dude, not many people have gone out and got it on Sunday like Sam Burns did this week. It's usually just been kind of a coasting Sunday this year.
Yeah, no, he was on fire. He was.
8 under. I mean, that's unbelievable Sunday.
That's an unbelievable Sunday. So,
I feel for him that he couldn't get done in, the overtime holes, if for lack of a better way to say it.
Yeah.
But he played great.
Yeah. So here we have the U.S. Open coming up, which the U.S. Open's always been one of my favorites. We'll start with you, Nick. Who is your favorite and why?
Man, I got a couple people in mind, and I was looking at the odds earlier. Scotty's moved up to like 2-1.
Yeah,
This is a
plus
long ball
280.
hitter. Rahm's been there for a week and a half playing now. I kind of like Rahm. He fell short on Sunday, in the last major, and I think he's ready.
Yeah. So, Kurt, what do you got?
I don't know a whole lot about who might be available, but
So let me.
I'm looking at guys that don't totally bomb it. They're not the longest guys, but the guys that can kind of keep it in play. Looking at the rough that you can't even see the ball when you get there. And
Yeah.
I could be totally wrong, but I think you could look at a guy that actually plays on the senior tour. Somebody 50 plus that can hit it down the middle that could take a tournament today because they don't go out of bounds and they just keep playing.
Yeah. See, like Phil Mickelson earlier this week was stated saying, like, this will be my last U.S. Open. Phil, if I misquote you, I'm sorry, but this is the Hulaham Hour, and we misquote a lot of motherfuckers. He said, and I'll be done by Friday, which means he's not even trying to make the cut, which is kind of insane for a player of his stature. And where you're coming from with what you're saying about a player like him winning it, I just don't know. It's going to be a very interesting tournament. Looking at the odds, I'm obviously a Bryson DeChambeau fan on this channel. I love Bryson. I'm putting my money on Bryson. But you look at somebody like Livid Oberg, he should win this. Like, he's been playing such good golf. He's been playing out of his mind. You look at Xander Schauffele, like he's right there all the time. But anyways, not to skip a beat or nothing. But Scott, who you got?
I'm gonna back you up there. I think Bryson is a phenomenal pick this week. First off, he does hit it a long ways, so he has that working for him. But also he has that engineer brain going for him. And I know he's been out there on practice rounds. He's factoring in every possible thing.
Yeah.
And if hitting a driver is going to hurt him, he won't hit a driver.
Yeah.
So that's how it's going to work. And then behind that, I mean, you gotta have the world's greats out there. You have Scheffler, it's going to do great, and Rory is never counted out. But I think Bryson should be top 5 this week. I really do.
What do you think about Rory last week, though, finishing at like 7 over and missing the cut? Like, I mean, I get that you'd think that because the pressure's off.
9 over.
Yes, thank you. I knew it wasn't. I was giving you the benefit of the doubt, but thank you for correcting me, because that's what you guys come here for, is stats on the Hulaham Hour. What? Seriously though, like, he was 9 over last week, missed the cut, and now we're at Oakmont, where he's not played well ever, and now here we are. Scott, what are your thoughts?
My honest thoughts. He knows the course. He knows who he's up against. If he needs to dial it back down to keep it in play and have a good approach shot in every hole, that's what he'll do. And I think his personality, he weighs more on majors than anything else. He's said it before. That's your legacy, Mm-hmm. You can win majors, you can win tournaments. That's you. I think he'll do better.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So yeah, I don't know, man. So we got Scotty's at plus 280, which he's pretty much plus 220 to plus 280 almost every single week. Bryson's at plus 700. That's a very good bet, to be honest. Rory's at plus 1200. We got Rahm at plus 1200. We got Oberg at plus 1200. I don't know, man. It's gonna be a fun week of golf. Oakmont, you've seen those videos, right, Nick, of the rough?
Oh, yeah. The last time this major was played there was 2016.
Yeah.
The average scoring in majors for that is 1 under. That's the scoring average at this course.
Yeah. So, like, is it a public course?
I do not know. I would imagine not.
Even if it's not, it's just unbelievably crazy how the rough is. When I seen him also in a different video, taking like like something you would go
2-inch buzz cut to the edge there.
Dude, they're taking buzz cuts with like beard trimmers on the fairway.
Dude, your rough goes from our normal public courses. This is the rough. It's now here.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It is.
Yeah, absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. So I'm very excited about the U.S. Open this weekend. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Hope you have a great weekend. I cannot spend any other way without my kid on Father's Day watching the U.S. Open. That'd be great. That's all I want.
That's perfect.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of nuts to me, though, speaking of LIV, because that would be our next topic typically, LIV golf. But Jon Rahm and Bryson missed last week in Virginia to start practicing for the U.S. Open. So good for them. So we're gonna skip right over the LIV golf this week.
I don't blame them, man. They want another major.
Yep. So we're gonna move on to the NHL finals going on. Last night's game was it? No, it was 2 nights ago's game. Holy shit, there was like 90 penalty minutes for the Oilers because they were so goddamn butthurt about the Panthers beating the shit out of them. But then again, there was a Panthers fan that was dumping beer on the players as they were leaving. Nick, lay it on us, man.
So we go into the third period. It's already a blowout. You know I love Florida. By about 10 minutes left in the third period, they just said, fuck it. We're not here to play hockey anymore.
Yeah.
They did not play hockey at all. They didn't skate well. They just went right after the head, cross-check, slash, and punches to the face. And it was honestly pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
Florida is under their skin bad. They need to bounce back badly.
Huh.
What do you guys think about that?
You guys caught any of the NHL finals?
I've seen a little bit.
Yeah?
From what I've seen, I think Florida is built for the playoffs, to be honest with you. And I think, well, we see that. They can grind it out and they can win a series. So, in my opinion, if they get down, 3-1, they'll still come back. You can't ever count them out.
Yeah.
They're seasoned.
Panthers have been through and through the best team all playoffs. Nick, you called this. I called the Capitals. I would have loved to see Ovechkin finish his career off with winning a ship. It would have been super fun. But rematch from last year. The thing, I actually want to talk about this because now I was in Vegas last week. Welcome back, everybody. There were so many Canadians in Las Vegas. It kind of pissed me off a little bit. I'm not going to lie. Like, nothing against Canada or nothing, but I'm in bars that are American bars, like the Tilt to Kilt on Link Boulevard in Las Vegas, and it's nothing but Oilers fans. It was nuts. When Florida scored on, like, Friday night, I was the only one that was like, woo! And everybody else was like, eh. It just sucked, man. I don't know, man.
That just comes down to, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Florida will never be thought of as a spot for NHL hockey. They have a great NHL hockey team, but hockey in Canada is the sport.
The only sport.
So
That's
it's
life.
like, it's like that's the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
You're going to find people that say that's all there is. And you can put a franchise anywhere you want. Obviously, in the southern states, it can't necessarily stay there because they don't have the fan base that they're going to get out of Canada.
Yeah.
So that's just the way it is.
It is, man, and I don't know. I'm very happy. I'm very optimistic. As much as it pisses me off, I don't know if you guys knew this, but if the Detroit Red Wings would have made the playoffs this year, it would have been the first time in Detroit sports history that all 4 of our teams made the playoffs in the same calendar year.
Well, let's hope for it.
And the
next
Red
year.
Wings fucked it up, man. They fucked it up so hard.
You know what? They were close. They were close.
They were.
But I don't know. I mean, growing up, we had the Red Wings were amazing. You know, we had Yzerman, Fedorov. You know, the Russian Five, we're gonna call it, in the late '90s, where we were great. And the Lions absolutely sucked at that point. You know,
Yeah.
Pistons weren't that great at that point either. And it's been a long time, and I know they're never gonna always come around together. But the fact that we are close right now is nice.
Yeah.
You know.
We're very close as a league, but we, again, as I stated earlier, have been as a major sports city with the 4 big teams, longest stretch.
Well, the Red Wings I'm thinking it was just about 20-some years made the playoffs every year.
Oh,
Unfortunately,
more than
prior to that, they were called the Dead Wings.
Yeah.
Because they didn't make the playoffs at all for a lot of years. And there's a whole lot of people that think that we're in our phase we are right now because we just stayed just good enough to get into the playoffs and never could get high draft picks, and that's what
You're
put us
stuck in
way.
that like Steelers Nation fucking window, dude. Like, yeah, Nick's laughing because he knows what I'm talking about. Like, the Steelers have never finished shitty enough to draft a top 5 quarterback, but haven't finished good enough to win the Super Bowl. Like, they've literally made the playoffs 20 seasons in a row and not fucking. Well, they won 1 Super Bowl under Mike Tomlin. They won 1.
So they made
don't
it
ever win in the
good enough
playoffs
to
in
get
6 years.
there,
But
not
never good
build
enough
around
to
it.
actually fuck the bitch. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So, I'm not the one filming this shit. I'm not the one fucking this bitch. I'm just the one holding the camera. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what Aaron Rodgers is going to do when he comes into the league this year. Oh, shit. All right. NHL, anything else, Nick? You got anything else on NHL or what?
Well, Edmonton doesn't bounce back. Florida goes up 3-1. This series is over. There is no
Series
coming
has
back
been
from that.
over since Florida won 1 in Edmonton. I don't know.
I don't think so. I think if Edmonton bounces back, this series is evened up. Got a lot of hockey left to play.
Yeah.
That's why
All
it's the finals, man. You never know.
Dude, that's the best part. All right, already, to be honest, this series has been better than the conference finals were for both leagues.
It's been great.
It's been way better. All right, so moving on.
And it's kind of nice, though, to be like, you look at Edmonton and Florida, and you can say they're definitely the 2 best teams in the league playing.
Oh, dude, hands down. Like, for a while there, we were both like, oh, dude, Carolina looks good. And Florida just shit on them, dude. Like, straight up. So, all right, the NBA Finals are in full swing. It's a tied series at 1-1. OKC has not looked themselves. Now, I will say, just to fill you guys in on the Hulaham Hour, I called the Capitals to win the NHL Finals, and they're obviously out. Nick called the Florida Panthers, so his team is still in to win this. I called OKC to win the NBA championship this year, and Nick called the Heat, right?
Cleveland.
Thank you.
You can shoot me if I pick the Heat.
And the Heat have been knocked out, however, so me and Nick still have one team in both leagues to win the championship. Anyways, on the NBA level, tied 1-1. OKC, Indiana. Kurt, who are you taking?
Honestly, I don't follow the NBA all that much, and when I watch a game, I only have to watch the last 2 minutes because that's just the way the NBA seems to be. So whoever, and it might not even come to that, but whoever has quote home field advantage, home court advantage, seems to make a huge difference. And if I'm not even sure where they started, but whoever, if it goes to a game 7, and that's kind of the way, from what I see, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of difference between either team. If it goes to a game 7, whoever gets to host the game, that's who I think's going to win.
It'll be the Oklahoma City Thunder. However, one, they're a new, semi-new, still to Oklahoma City, and two, they're the youngest roster in the NBA. Correct, Nick?
Yep.
Yeah, they're the youngest roster in the NBA.
Youngest average.
Yes. So, it's the Indiana Pacers. They finally won some games in their arena, their home arena, whatever. They had that struggle for a long time, but I'm still sticking with my OKC, man. I'm still sticking with my OKC. They're still gonna get it done. Scott, what are your thoughts?
I don't follow it that closely, but I'm still going with OKC. And part of that comes to Indiana. I mean, I graduated in 2007 from high school. So I'm still thinking of like the Pistons fighting with Indiana when they had Jermaine O'Neal and we had fans involved. There was beers thrown at people. So I might be a little bitter still based on how they acted back then. And I might be against them, but I do think OKC they have the heart, you know. They're starting to win.
It's sad to know that the brawl at the Palace can't ever be relived in a sense because the Palace has been torn down. It's gone. It's gone. It's a parking lot now. It's a parking lot for a bunch of bullshit. But
So I think the keys to tonight's game has got to be Tyrese Halliburton. He can't not show up for 46 minutes anymore. Like, that's not sustainable for your superstar. You're going to get your ass kicked.
Yep.
They've had 5 15-point comebacks. That's also not going to fly in the finals.
Nope.
They need to get out in front of this early, and he needs to get everybody involved and actually shoot the fucking ball.
Yeah, dude. Halliburton has definitely been the MVP of the playoffs so far. Just see if he can
Until
actually,
the finals.
Yeah, if he closes it out, it'll be fun to see.
So obviously, I told you that's why my deadline's 8:30. I'll be watching the finals.
Hell yeah. All right, so moving on. We got one last topic here. Well, first off, actually, Nick, I know I'm going to cover a topic really quick, and then we'll move on that you don't like to cover. But the UFL Michigan team has made the championship, the Super Bowl of the offseason. The Michigan, it's the Michigan Birminghams. There's the Michigan
Panthers.
Michigan Panthers. Thank you. Yeah, Mister, I don't fucking like the UFL knows exactly what the UFL team name is.
Just call it the minor leagues of the minor leagues.
Yeah,
You know,
this is like the Super Bowl of the dropouts of high school.
Hey, you know what though? They're still playing and we're not. So, anyways, good luck to the Michigan Panthers. I hope you win the UFL championship. It'd be super cool to see. But yeah, we're gonna move on to a topic that I think Kurt is excited to talk about. Major League Baseball. Tigers still top of the league. Still killing it. Can't wait to see if they can actually ride it out the rest of the season. It'll depend on where we're at to give the All-Star break because I hope we're not on top of the All-Star break because it just seems like teams that are on top of the All-Star break always filter afterwards.
Yeah, you never
But
know. I mean,
Kurt, Kurt, what do you got for the Tigers right now, man? They're killing it.
Even back in '84 when the Tigers started 35-5, they only played basically 500 ball the rest of the way. But when it came to the postseason, they smoked. Okay, who knows what they're going to do this year? They're relatively young. I do like their manager, and realistically, they've gotten where they're at, which is currently the best team in baseball.
Yeah.
They've gotten where they're at with a lot of people on the DL.
Yeah.
And they got people coming back.
Yep.
And I believe that they're playing baseball the way that it's meant to be played. Mm-hmm. They're playing hard. They're going at it where and taking the extra base. They're making the great defensive plays. Baseball has changed so much over the years that it almost drives me crazy. That, you know, basically you're starting pitchers that used to pitch 9 innings or or guys that were superstars pitch 10 or 11 innings if need be to win the game. That just doesn't happen anymore. They pitch 6 and they turn it over to the bullpen. But our bullpen in Detroit isn't quite where you'd really want it to be if that's the way you're going to play. But so far, the starting pitching has played well enough that even though they're not scoring tons of runs, I think they're about top 6 or 7, but that includes the whole year. And recently, they're winning 3-1 or 1-0, or everyone. Last week they won like 13-1 or something, which was not a normal game. They're not scoring tons of runs, but they're playing well. They're fun to watch, and I enjoy, and I do believe that they're built for the long haul.
They are. Nick, what do you got to say about that?
It sucks to see Jackson Jobe go down. His real rookie start to the year. See him go down with Tommy John really kind of sucks.
Yeah, it does.
I love how our team been playing, and like Kurt said, I love the way we play, the stolen bases. I mean, our third base coach, his shoulders got to be about ready to tear out from waving them guys down. But I hope at the deadline we go out and get a closer, or at least a bullpen guy that's a little more strikeout rate. And I think other than that, I feel pretty good about our team.
Which is kind of wild to think about because, like, last year we're like, oh, we need starters, blah, blah, blah. But I'm gonna kind of veer off to the left from the Tigers for just a hot second and give it to you, Nick. Give us Paul Skeen's scenario right now.
Oh, my God. Pittsburgh is just going to kill a superstar. He is 4-6 with a 1.88 ERA and 92 strikeouts. What more do you need to do to win?
All right, you're here for the Hulaham Hour for stats. 4-6 with a 1 point what ERA?
1.88.
If I have a 1.88 ERA and I'm not 10-2, I'm absolutely absurdly pissed, and I don't do that for a living. So, Nick, explain to the regular consumer of the Hulaham Hour why that's terrible.
Average is like what, 3 or 4? I'm not sure the exact number on the average
3.5 ERA. Yeah, if you have a 3.5 ERA, you're considered a good starter. Yes,
you're a quality starter.
Yep.
And 1.88, literally, he had a complete game where he gave up 1 run and lost this year. Like, you couldn't give the guy 1 run to even get it to extras. They're gonna kill him. I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, man. Pretty wild.
I agree there. Paul Skeen has the spotlight on him right now. You're the hottest, rookie there in the MLB. You're an early pitcher. You're trying to make a career. You're dating Olivia Dunny, whatever her name is, the hottest gymnast, whatever the hell you want to call her. Everyone's looking at you. And you're pitching lights out and still losing games. I feel for him.
It's wild, dude. It's wild. The fact that this guy can be having a 1.88 ERA and beat under 500 just is an attest to how shitty the Pirates are. And I'm a Pittsburgh sports fan. I just renounced my fandom ship to the Steelers earlier, but like I'm not trying to announce
black and yellow.
No. Yeah, dude. Shout out Wiz. What up, though? Get you on here, man. But yeah, it's crazy. The Tigers are still leading the league with 44 wins. We're at 24 losses at 647% winning. We are 23-9 at home. We are 21-15 on the road. It's been a crazy year so far, and I hope the Tigers. I don't want to take the best record into the postseason because it just seems like the best team that takes the best record into the postseason never fucking does it.
Let me go on top of that though. We went into the postseason last year as underdogs, and we were phenomenal. We are better. We're older. We're more experienced.
Well, yeah. Well, last year,
we're gonna do great.
Nick, correct me if I'm wrong, but we had one starter and we had a bullpen.
Yep.
We had Scooble. We had Scooble, and he was our only starter. And now we got Flaherty, and now we got a bunch of other guys that are actual, at least 6-inning pitchers, where you can get through. If you can get through 6 innings, you're good. You're styling, man.
Nick, you'll probably know this, but correct me if I'm wrong. But the series we lost last year, our entire roster costs less than their ace pitcher, right?
Amen.
Oh yeah.
110%.
So I mean, we were there.
yeah. Well,
And
no, we
now
were
we're more
there.
experienced. I
That's-
think we're okay.
That's also the biggest difference between like the MLB and like the NFL is the fact that like the Yankees can spend $2.5 billion a year on their team and have a very minimal penalty. But if the
It's
Lions
not minimal. They just don't care.
yeah, exactly, they don't give a shit. But if the Lions did that, it's the end of the world, and it's way too many penalties. I don't know. It'd be nice to see the league get into the same kind of rhythm with different penalty caps for that kind of stuff, but I don't know if it'll ever happen. But
They never
Obviously,
will.
The best team that money can buy has not
won it.
worked for
No,
baseball.
it hasn't.
Because
It
the
hasn't.
Yankees have been able to do that for a very, very long time.
110% they have. Yep.
Teams that through the minor league can bring their guys up, and if we want to go all the way back to 40 plus years ago, in '84 when the Tigers won, they brought all their guys up from the minors together, and they congealed, and they had a great season, and they won the World Series. So, things won't be exactly the same way, but if you look now, the Tigers are considered to have the best minor league system in baseball.
Yeah.
And they're bringing up guys that have been played together in the minor leagues.
100%.
And Torkelson, who they just about wrote off last year, was a number one pick, and now he's looking great.
Yep.
Casey Mize, who arguably has had a significant problem. He had injuries, but he was a number one pick, and now he's playing well. Mm-hmm. If you look at what is currently in the minors, that a lot of prognosticators are saying trade this guy away to bring this guy in, I'm not so sure the Tigers would make any of those trades. Just bring them up, what you got, see what happens. It showed last year when we sold at the deadline. We sold at the deadline, and we brought young guys up, and then we went to the postseason. That makes a lot of sense.
It does. It makes more than sense. But, Nick, what are your thoughts?
The only thing I would like to just see us go out and get is a legitimate established closer.
Yeah.
I don't want to see any more trials in the playoffs on throwing people at closer and giving up games.
No, giving up games is the worst feeling in baseball, man.
The Tigers have guys that are doing the job right now, but they're not doing the job the way that they need to. We're not getting a lot of strikeouts. When you come in with people on base, you can't afford to give up contact. You need strikeouts. And if they can go out and find somebody who's a legitimate strikeout thrower with something at the back end of the back end when you call somebody in, that makes a lot of sense.
It does. It does. I don't know. I'm hoping the Tigers, at this point, unless the Tigers take a super hard nosedive, we're going to be in the postseason. It'll be a fun ride come this fall for the Tigers. Very excited. I hope nothing but the best for them. And, yeah. All right, we are wrapping up this here Hulaham Hour. Nick, you got anything else this week, brother?
No, I do not.
Kurt, Scott,
Let's
you got
go
anything else this
Pacers.
week, guys?
Nothing to say. I mean, root for the Tigers. They're doing a great job. They're not hitting the ball as much as they need to. They're getting some key hits when they need to. The pitching staff is doing well above what anybody expected they could.
And then some.
But
Yeah.
we need to give those guys some runs. We don't need to have a starter on our team that has a 1.88 ERA and a losing record.
Yeah, if we had Paul Skeens, he'd be 10-2. Yeah. For sure. All right. Well, I guess with that being said, Scott, Kurt, thank you so much for being our third guest here on the Hulaham Hour. It's been very, very helpful for us. I appreciate that. And anyways, fellas, with that being said, I think I gotta scroll up. We are Hulaham out.